Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly chart review for stocks. Man, what a week it's been, and I gotta say, holy shit, does it feel good to be so on point. I was 42 points off, guys. 42! Look at this shit! Pardon me for swearing, but damn! Whoops. Anyway, so my target was going to be this gray box, and the same area as to this, right? I just drew it up in my long-term chart right here. As you can see, long-term chart, that's what it says. Just move that over. Okay, look what happened. On Tuesday, we peaked right here. It was at least 40 points, 40.6 points away from the bottom of my target zone. You know, maximum I was expecting maybe 70. But, I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good guess. Educated guess, so to say it more. Anyway, you know what I'm getting at. Okay? So, yeah, I missed it by a day. Oops. It was right there. So, what I saw happen is this original area. When I did my review, I said I expected probably plus or minus 300 pips from that area before we finally start dropping, right? And the plus would have been this zone, the total target that I had set. Let's take a look, right? Yeah, so I was expecting maybe 250, 300 would have been max. It was still pretty close to that area, or 300 points down. And oh my goodness, you can see kind of where we're sitting at close. It dropped from that area about 300 points. So yeah, plus minus 300 it became pretty valid. I mean, it only went plus 183 and negative 327. So it broke through that zone. It closed off this gap. It formed two more gaps on the buy end. But judging where we're at now, that 1,000-point drop seems to be a lot more likely, right? So I predicted about a 1,000-point drop from the reversal area. So right now we are at 500 and, well, I guess the lowest it went is 510, but we're sitting at around 478. Very likely this week we will see a drop to this line, closing off that gap at 12,900 on the Nasdaq, which I believe if we take a look at IXIC, you can see the difference right now. It's about 530 points, give or take, right? So that's what we're going to be looking at for that gap to close off, right? You can see this giant thing that formed right here on that. We're going to be shutting that down. All right, so why did I go on this chart? That's the wrong one. Pardon me. Don't want to lose all this info. Holy, it takes a long time to load. Okay, back to here. So, like I was saying, overall, I was expecting the reversal around this mark. You know, I think I prematurely called it way back in May. But I was thinking, I'm like, you know, we're not quite to that spot yet. I'll flip it on the daily. And the reason was because it didn't hit that black EMA when I first thought that this was going to be the low. And I'm like, you know what? And we had a bit of a reversal for a few days and consolidation for a week and a bit right here. But that wasn't really it. As soon as it kind of hit and broke through that black EMA that I have, the 987, and then hovered around there for a little bit, this told me that that was the bottom. So that's why I highlighted it, and I just moved my arrow slightly over, but it didn't really change a whole lot, right? So if we take that Fibonacci level, right, and we have it up here, you can see that the 618 is pretty damn close there regardless. If I stretch it out to the new low, right there, you can see that now we had a rejection off the 618 perfectly. Okay, so I mean it was relatively close. I still predicted that same area, that approximation is exactly where it would have happened. So, based on all that, okay, my two predictions for this, all right? The first low, I believe we're going to be hitting around here, 10,400 to 10,200. So that would be about what, 9,900, 9,800 and change to 96 on the Nasdaq. So we are going to be dropping down to the 4 digits again. But it just depends how much. We could even drop down to the 8,000s, right? If it goes as low as this possible point. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's entirely possible. I mean, yeah, it can very well happen, actually. We could even drop down to, you know, high 7,000s if it's realistic, like I'm going based off of my fib channels. Right, you could see consolidation bounced off between the lines right here. So very likely we're going to be seeing it somewhere along this line here before we have the ultimate reversal, right, where sentiment changes and everybody wants to buy. So anyway, that's my long-term prediction of Nasdaq. We've kind of see it played out over the last 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We just lost 500 or almost 500 points, right? Where it came down here. Why are you doing this? Am I on the wrong Nasdaq here? I might be. That makes sense. Okay. So I was on the wrong chart. Pepperstone and Oanda, I mean, it all really depends on the broker. I just believe, as far as, for me personally, Pepperstone is closer to my leveraged broker than Oanda is. I just like marking up Oanda charts. Anyway. That's all it is. So let's see. I predict what'll happen next. So I have a feeling that we're not going to have both of these gaps open. It's very likely that we're going to close this one off before the continuation. So let's see when the data comes out. I'm just going to flip it on my phone, guys. I don't want to switch the screen, pardon me. So let's see, Monday, Tuesday, nothing for US. Oh, no, Tuesday, I'm wrong. PMI, expecting a higher number, so it could cause strength. That could mean it's for currency, right? So it could cause strength for currency. But again, for purchasing managers index, the PMI, it's a potential that that's going to rocket this thing back up right here to close the gap. Right, because what was it that I said? 80, 84, 86, something like that percentage of the 84 to 86% roughly is the chance that it's going to close the gaps within the week, right? There's about 70% chance it'll close the next day, a total of 86, 84, something like that to close it within the week, 98% chance to close them, right? That time frame is irrelevant at that point. Just longer than a week, and less than a 2% chance, I think it was like 1.6 of never closing, right? So these red bars. All right, so as you can see right now, we have a lot of red bars to get to, okay? And that's on the 15-minute right now. So if I switch it to the daily, we have quite a ways to go, okay? This is why I'm predicting lower lows. You can see all of those to get to. Okay, and this is pissing me off. I'm trying to connect this so many times, but I don't know why it just does this. So, you know, let's try it once more. That was the approximate area, but, you know, I'm sure I'll move around the chart and it'll disappear. So anyway, that's where I predict we're going to be going down. Let's, for the sake of argument, let's just put the up arrow where I predict we're going to be hitting before finally reversing. I mean, this is quite a chunky gap, right? We're looking at over 1,000 pips from here to here. It's... you know what? Let's say that area. I want to be optimistic. I mean, as far as that goes. Okay, so I believe that these gaps will not be closing. We're going to close as far down as this one, which is about the 10,000 range. So it's about 9,000... what is it, 710, 9,750 for IXIC, which is the Nasdaq indices. That's where I predict we're going to go overall. Okay, and yeah, so I'll move the arrow way over here because it's going to be a slow ride to hell. Okay, so now that we kind of understand where all that is going, and as you can see, when I think it's going to be a slow ride, that means that from now until maybe end of November, we're going to be seeing these things slowly trickle down and take stocks with them, right? So if you're the type of person that likes to play options and do quick puts and calls for a few days or a few hours, you could stand to make a lot of money knowing that we're going to be dropping harder, especially if you take option calls or puts. I'm saying puts because, I mean, for obvious reasons. But if they're 3 months out, you know what? That's you don't have to sweat any bullets at that point. I have a feeling this is going to be a very solid win for a lot of people. Oh, crap. My chair just got stuck under the desk. Anyway, so personally, I'm going to be taking puts on all the big guys, right? So anyway, let's see how everything developed. I don't even have Oxy on here, even though I own that stock. Oh my gosh, Oxy. Let's grab you, my friend. All right, because that was very nice. Okay. There we go. Did I get the... Nope. Yeah, all right, that works. Does that work? No, it doesn't. What a piece of... All right, that's fine, even though they're all over the place, whatever. Okay, so let's take a look from top to bottom. First thing, though, what I'm going to do is... No, we're good. Okay, we'll upload that. So let's take a look at Apple. Okay, we saw how Nasdaq is going. We saw Apple does a stronger recovery than most. And look what happened here. There was a gap that formed, gap closed. Let's take a look at it a little bit more detail where that was formed. Right here. Holy shit. Look at this. There was a gap. There it got closed right here on that day. Didn't go much higher, right? I mean, from the gap closing, it went up maybe another $2. And now it's starting to trickle down. Okay? So this is playing out beautifully. There's no more gaps for Apple to close. Otherwise, it's going to be making new highs. I believe that's as high as Apple goes. And now we're going to be seeing a drop. ADI, I was kind of expecting a little bit more from them, but too bad. AMC. Oh my goodness. How did this play out, everybody? I did say that this is as high as we're going to go. Like I said, 618. This has been bouncing there quite a bit. But again, you know, the game's over. It's at $18 now. So, you know, I'm putting my arms up in surrender saying, hope you listened. You had 3 chances to get out. 3. That didn't happen in the past. This time you had 3 chances. 1, 2, 3 chances to get out. If you stayed in, well, slap yourself in the face. That's what I can recommend to do, because that was unfortunate. But like I said, it's going to happen. It happened 4 times already, right? When it bounced off here, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th. Anyway, moving on. AMD. So there's a gap right here to close off. Again, just because of where we're at in the Nasdaq, I don't expect to be getting up there. Yeah, I think that's kind of done. Let's just switch back up to the daily, though. All right, I think AMD is, the run is over as far as the climb was concerned. It's rejecting right now off the white EMA, which is at 233. Okay, let's continue. Amgen, decent one, right? Like, what does Amgen do? Let's, you know what? Maybe this will be a pretty good time to go over some company notes. But anyway, I think, what was Amgen again? I think it was in energy. Oh, man, I'm terrible for this. I'm sorry, guys. Moving on, Amazon, right? It hit its peak right at that 618. I mean, guys, whoever thinks that Fibonacci's are a joke or they're not useful, I mean, that's because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. It's as simple as that. Sorry, buddy. I know who you are. I'm not going to call you out, though. But, yeah, learn fibs. It's very important. Okay? You can see how often this actually plays out. Watch this. 618 is this golden line. Holy! Okay? Look, 618 is this golden line. Oh, wrong arrow. Here we go. right there. Look, look. Here, just to make it look right here. Look at it. Look at this. All right. There's a reason why it's so important to know Fibonacci, and that's it. Okay. You can easily kind of gauge where reversals will happen, where the zone will be hit, minimal losses to incur and maximum profits. If you think that it's still a joke, by all means, please continue your volume analysis, your RSI, your whatever other kind of nonsense that you think is going to be incredibly important. Granted, I use a bunch of different indicators as well, but my two favorites are EMAs and MACD. I like MACD more than RSI. And my favorite drawing tools are fibs. Look at this. Trend-based fib. Fib channel. Ganbox, which is a fib tool. Fib time zone. Fib retracement. Volume is the only one that's not a fib, right? So if we go, let's say, draw it like this, we see the point of control. It's going to be right at the peak. Crazy how that works. Look at this. Look at this. From here to the last bottom part. Look at this point of control. Look where it hit. Can you imagine combining these two things with Fibonacci and volume control? How exact do you need to be for that to happen, right? Look at this. Let's see, from this peak all the way down to the bottom, let's say right here. Where is that point of control? Way down here. So this is purely Fibonacci retracement, right? There is no volume to be had there. Right? Let's see even if it's going to combine the bottoms that we have here. That's as close as we get. Right? But, I mean, watch how crazy that is too. When you take the bottoms, like strictly when we hit the bottom to this bottom before we have that big gap from earnings. Point of control is way up here. Right? All I did is I moved it 1 over. You see where the point of control now drops, right? After earnings. Right? After earnings where it all dropped right here, point of control, look at this. Look where we're rejecting from. Kind of bouncing off that area, we're not climbing higher, bouncing off the fib. Combine these two tools, guys, and you're just going to be laughing every time it's time to take long-term trades, right? Because imagine taking a put way back in November here and having it kind of... what's the term for it, I guess, expire in June or May, right? I mean, that was how much of a percentage of a drop? 45%. Anyway, ATVI, Activision. So this one's been a little bit stubborn. It's coming close to closing off that gap. It's still one slightly open. But yeah, that's still kind of where it's at. I don't know. I mean, earnings have been kind of less than stellar. I mean, still decent, but it's been going sideways. Even through all the kind of nonsense that we've seen all the way from November, right? Like we've seen, look, October, November, right here where it had earnings kind of spiked down, then all the way back up, and it's been chilling out here for 6 months. That's not too bad, right? If you think of a long-term hold, maybe Activision's not the worst way to go. Activision Blizzard, yeah. Anyway, Bed Bath & Beyond. Oh my gosh, this actually broke through the top, so that was a little bit surprising. However, it formed a double top, so different type of strategy to utilize there. But oh my gosh, look at the fib channel. Look right there. That's also crazy. Look at this. Right off the channel. Sorry, that's too many circles. I'm just being a little bit asinine right now. But you could see right now it broke through once and it didn't really want to go there. We tested 1, 2, and then right here 3 times. Okay. To be honest, I wasn't expecting this to pop up as high as it did. It just had a stronger run than it did previously. But how much stronger, you ask? Well, let's take a look. All right. So I just zoomed in on the daily. Let's draw a horizontal line right here. I want to go exact. Let's see how close this actually is. You see the dotted line means that's the highest in the current time frame. So let's draw it right on that line. Boom. So we came with Bed Bath & Beyond. 6 cents. 6 cents away from its previous peak. Okay, that is a double top. So from this point on, goodbye Bed Bath & Beyond. Obviously, it dropped from $30 down to $11. So that's the end of the run. All right. However, this is one of the few times the fib retracement didn't actually play out, right? Or did it? Let's take a look. Here was the high. Here was the low, right? Oh, that wasn't the 618. What? What? Anyway, you get my point, right? You get my point. 618 and starts going down. So what does that tell us? When it was finally a 618 retracement based on how low it went, watch this. What are the chances we can predict how far it's going to fall before it continues up a climb? So look, one peak, lowest, highest. Oh look, it might drop to the same level, and but at this point in time, you know, let's get a little creative. Let's draw lines like so. So at that point in time, okay, so we might be seeing, well, not in the negatives, that's for sure. It's not going to drop that low, right? So as far as it got to the $4, we might be seeing it maybe, yeah, I don't think it's going to go too much lower than that, maybe to $3 or $4 again. So if that's the case, how does the fib work in Bed Bath & Beyond now? Right from the peak, let's say to the previous low, just as a precaution. Let's get rid of this one. And we don't need the previous fib. We'll keep it up, you know. I like having it there just to prove my point with fibs there, folks. So anyway, judging from where it's at with the low, if it drops anywhere a little bit lower, let's draw a box. This is the 618, kind of right here in this area. And let's see if it fluctuates much. Right, it's not going to be a whole lot, even if it drops all the way down to like $2, right? Still kind of close in that area. So very likely, as you see right now, that green fib channel line is going to be the one in play. So let's say even right here, right in the center of that line, right? Let's give it $4, sure. Okay, so where we're at right now is here. That is the $10 mark. I believe this is what we're going to be seeing, similar to the previous drops, right? You saw the drop and a bit of a pullback shortly after, right? Drop, pullback shortly after. And how much is shortly? From the first initial drop, we're looking at about 27 days, so less than a month, okay? So maybe 20 sessions, all right? So let's see where we're at now. From the peak, 20-something sessions. So 27 days, 25, something like that. Seems pretty reasonable to hit off the fib right here. Right? Somewhere around there, even in the green line. Right? Perfectly plausible for it to pop up once more, similar to this, or even a little bit deeper before it finally drops. And then the next time it'll come around is maybe next year. Right? For the same sort of move. How long did this one take? Let's see. 440 days, and the one previous to that was 126 days. It's kind of crazy how everything kind of goes in that channel that I drew up, huh? Anyway, yep. So even if let's go on the weekly. I just want to see how. Oh no, you saw where my lines are. Oh no. Okay, but let's see how it looks like on the weekly if we draw a fib from its peak in 2014. No way, guys. No way. What are the chances? 618. If you don't get it by now, then you're hopeless. That's kind of all I'm going to say about that anymore. Anyway, moving on. BlackRock. So interest rates are increasing. BlackRock is not really buying up so much property anymore, but they own a lot. you see the rejection right here off the aqua. Now it's rejecting off this point on the channel. Let's draw a fib from the low to the high on the weekly. Oh my gosh, 618. What a crazy coincidence. Let's move on. Burke B. All right. How far away are we from hitting the bottom? This one kind of scares me a little bit. Should we count March? I think the last spike would be here in October. That went down. Didn't quite hit it. I have a feeling it's going to be going a little bit lower. So, bummer. But that's okay. Caterpillar. See, I'm not a huge fan of these guys. It's just all sideways. Most of the Dow stocks. Carnival Cruise Lines. This one I can see a lot of potential in, but as you can see, even from the 0 points, kind of been bouncing all over the place. But it is going higher slightly. I think overall, when it comes to these cruise lines, it might be moving much differently than it is for the rest of the world. Cruise lines are kind of ahead of themselves in using biodiesel, which isn't as important with oil production as you've previously heard of, and they're going to alternative fuel sources as well. So cruising will still be at a reasonable cost, although oil and gas is the most expensive operating cost for cruise lines. Okay, based on that, as oil rises, I don't see Carnival doing much better than maybe where they're sitting at now. I'm still optimistic for them. I'm going to be buying it up probably when it hits the lower 9s. I just can't see it dropping past that, and if it does, that's fine. I'm more than willing to hold long term. Cruise lines will recover. A lot of people want to entertain themselves and go traveling, especially the older crowds. Okay, Costco. Oh my gosh, what are the odds? Anyway, that happened a while back, right? I was expecting that right before earnings too, right? That was a little strange. I think this was the drop that happened when Walmart had their earnings on May 18th. Let me just double check. Walmart, May 18. Yep, that was the drop, right? So May 18th, what is it? 17th, I think they came out in the evening. And on the 18th was when everything kind of took hold. So that's why Costco dropped, because Walmart's forecast took everything down with them. Okay. But yeah, Costco, I can see it rising continuously. But now let's draw a mini fib from one point to another. Right, so you can see we're past that 618 right here. It's going slightly higher. I have a feeling it's going to pull back, but nothing in terms of what we're going to see with other tech stocks. Okay, Chevron climbing, better price than oil right now. You know, we've hit reversal point on this too. Let's see how deep it actually went. The last peak was around there. So the bottom peak all the way to the top. Crazy. Just kind of hit the 618 reversed. So that's where it's sitting at right now. DE had their earnings. Earnings weren't fantastic, although they still climbed, right? So still very good. I mean, they didn't hit what the estimate is, but I mean, still $6 a share is very good, right? All right, so Disney, this flaming dumpster fire. I'm staying out. I'm not even going to analyze that one. DocuSign. I went over it with a colleague of mine. I do believe it's actually going to drop lower. It's possible that it'll go around the $48 mark. Their valuation is about right at that level. It's been way overpriced for the last couple of years, so it's finally coming back to where it's actually worth. EA Games, not really interested. eBay, EGLX, so, you know, bad earnings. Frontier Lithium, yeah, it started to climb, did a little rejection, right? But overall, Frontier Lithium is an energy stock. Let's delete this fib, that was pointless. Useless, okay. So as you can see, the drop was happening, and anyway, I can get rid of that and that. Okay, but Again, fib channels. This was kind of the last spike. Right, so where did this hit? This went all the way down at 786. So lower pullback than normally expected. However, if we go down to its last kind of low, you can see that it's just kind of in the middle of 618, 786. So one way or another, doesn't really matter. Frontier Lithium is a Canadian stock. Lots of potential with these guys that I see. As you can see, earnings just black boxes because they are in the discovery phase right now. And overall, GameStop, Google, Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, it's all going to be very similar stuff. I'm just going to leave it where it is right now. And Tesla, we'll just jump into that one quickly, right? So I predicted as high as it would go is maybe this area. It came very close to the 618. Maybe it has a possibility for a push for a few more days. I have a feeling when that split comes on the 25th, it's going to push the price up slightly before dropping. So that could be its last hurrah before everything else kind of tanks near the end of the week. And oh yeah, I forgot Occidental. This is what happens when a billionaire decides to buy a company. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in this one myself. I bought it around the $57 mark. So I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't expecting these kind of spikes. Oil was going to be my long-term holds. But hey, you know, a 15% increase. 15? I think 16. Oh, what was it again? 57 and change, somewhere around there. To where it's at now. 23% increase. That's always nice. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's all the time I have. I hope that this has been helpful for you. And I know you've seen a couple of new stocks right here, but that's because of my curiosity and earnings that were coming out last week. Please, if you have any ones that you wanted me to dive in, write it in the comments, okay? And I'll definitely open them up for the next video, right? I'm not here just to do this for myself. I want to help you guys out, making sure that you don't sit in terrible situations, okay? So maybe some homework, guys. Learn what Fibonacci is, please. I've proven to you time and time again that it is a very valid and useful tool. Okay, until the next time, until next week, have a good one.